Welcome back. Yo, you see I got my head wrapped today, so if you don't see my hair today, then that's probably why. I don't know if you can peep the bun game, yo. If your bun game ain't like this, then you're gonna have to work on it, because my bun game, I think, is alright. It's nice. So today we're gonna be talking about another kingdom. I'm so excited today to talk about another kingdom. This one is very close to my heart because I love this ethnic group, and yeah, I just want to talk about it, and I think that you should know about it. We should all know about it. And when I found out about it, it was like, I had to share it, right? So today we'll be talking about another African kingdom. Are you ready? We're breaking down the enslaved mind, right? We're breaking it down. We're saying we do have history. So let's go. Today we're gonna go. So today we'll be talking about the kingdom of Futa Jallon, and that was a Fulani kingdom. So the kingdom of Futa Jallon, the kingdom of Futa Jallon. So the kingdom of Futa Jallon was a Fulani kingdom ran by a Imam, and this was from 1725 to around 1896. And the kingdom was based on the Muslim religion and was a joint coalition between the Susu, the Mandinka, and the Fulani, as well as other ethnic African groups that were of the Muslim faith. And this kingdom was created from the Fulani at first, and is a Muslim kingdom. Futa Jallon was a Muslim kingdom. So the Fulani Muslims were revivers of Islam. They wanted to revive Islam. When they learned about Islam, they wanted to revive it and spread it to any African ethnic group or anybody they came in contact, and they wanted them to be Muslims and change to the Islamic faith. And the Fulani wanted to form a kingdom around the Muslim religion. And the Fulani had migrated from the Mali area at the time. They had came down from Mali and they migrated into this area, which the Futa Jallon kingdom was now centered at. And after the Fulani migrated from Mali, they conquered some of the local ethnic groups that were not Muslim, and there was examples like the Mandi people. The Fulani Muslims conquered the Mandi people in that area. So the kingdom's capital was Timbo, and Timbo was placed aside a mountain. It had houses that were cylinder shaped, so like cylinder shape, and the top of them were triangular roofs. They had like triangular roofs, so almost like what's something that would be a good example of it? Well, I guess the way I just explained it. It was circular, the base was, and then the top part was triangular coming off the side of the circular base. The roofs were triangular coming off the sides of the circular base. So Timbo had, which was the capital of the kingdom, Futa Jallon, Timbo had a population of 5,000 to 6,000, and many of the African people from all around Africa wanted to come to Futa Jallon and came to Futa Jallon, and they lived in the kingdom because it had very good environment. It had lush trees, a lot of fruits, vegetables, just really, really nice, beautiful environment in West Africa. Any way you could think about it, then think about it, and that's what it was, right? Big trees, palm trees, fruits, vegetables, food, very luxurious place to live. So after a lot of people that came there was also the Arabs that was going throughout all of West Africa for trade and for just the nomadic nature of Arabs at that time. And the Fulani and other African ethnic groups were very, very wealthy at that time. Very wealthy. Futa Jallon was a very, very wealthy African kingdom, and some ways that the population showed their wealth was that they would wear such thing as blue togas, silver, and a abundance amount of gold on their earrings, their necklaces, and things of that nature. With the Sunni Islam being the religion type, the spoken language of the kingdom was the Polar language, and this was this as well as a number of other African languages were spoken in the kingdom, as well as Arabic in the kingdom was spoken as well too. So the capital of the kingdom was Timbo, as I stated before, and with that flourished a great kingdom of learning, of high science, and of space, of science of space, as well as the human body, culture, ethics, and many, many, many other sciences. This was a high learning place. We have to understand, like Timbuktu, it was a very high, and like Egypt, it was a very high learning place in Africa, very high. So I just want to emphasize that. It was a very scholarly place. So the kingdom was ran by a single person called the Imam, as I stated, and his power was not to be questioned, no question, absolute. He was Imam. His power, what he said, he meant it. You had to do it. He was Imam, and but the Imam did not work alone. As as a lot of people would think that he did. Imam had a circle of counselors and a number of counselors, and these counselors would roam the kingdom and hear what citizens' thoughts were, what they had to say and what their daily routine was. And the Imam ruled in the name of Allah and claimed his power in what he was doing, and said that Allah gave him the power to be Imam and to be the ruler. And after the 1800s, we must note that the Imam was elected every 2 years and was picked always from the 2 elite top-tier Fulani families. Now, the Futa Jallon kingdom was ruled under very, very, very strict Islamic law, and with the Imam living in the capital of Timbo, the kingdom consisted of 9 provinces, yes, 9 provinces, and in which all had rulers, and they had their own rulers, but they had to report to the ultimate ruler, which was the Imam in Timbo. And but this was not practiced until the meeting in the mid-1700s. And this happened when the 9 province rulers came to Timbo and had a meeting at the capital, and the first Imam would be named, and the capital of Timbo would be called the capital and declared the capital of the whole kingdom. Now, Timbo would be the capital of the kingdom until the French colonists arrived, and the Imam's objective was to convince all local ethnic groups to become Muslim. And with this objective, the kingdom became the regional power through negotiation and war. With good negotiation, the Futa Jallon kingdom was very, very good at negotiation, and with good negotiation, negotiating skills, the kingdom generated wealth for itself, a very abundant amount of wealth, very wealthy kingdom. And the capital of Timbo, as a state of the kingdom, would deal with the European powers, and such as France and other European powers, and the whole kingdom had to listen to what Timbo said in the Futa Jallon kingdom, and Timbo was the capital, as I said. The capital was very, very versed, though. We have to understand it was very, very versed. And what I mean in verse was, while handling the affairs with European countries, they would also show their versatility and superior arts and literacy to the Islamic world in the holy cities of faith in Africa and the Middle East. So as they were dealing with European countries and their issues with them as far as trading, them wanting to conquer them and just all kind of talks, they would also be sending people off to different parts of Africa and in the Middle East to show off the prestige arts and the high literacy of the kingdom, as well as the different African languages and the Arab language to the rest of the Muslim world. Now, the Futa Jallon kingdom also had an army which was kept only for defense, and this army was not a choice. The Imam wasn't having that. This was not a choice in the army. When the Imam called for the men of arms, they had to respond. They had to. The Imam, it was a no-choice army. You had to respond. And the Imam was the commander of the army. Now, the kingdom was very well known for being multilingual. And for the people that don't know what multilingual is, which means that there was, multiple amounts of languages. They knew a lot of languages, a whole bunch of different languages. I mean, a lot. And they were also multi-ethnic, and in that sense, that meant that there was a lot of different ethnic groups, most of them being different African ethnic groups, but also Arab and other, ethnic groups from different continents and countries and kingdoms. So the kingdom would trade conquered ethnic groups, cattle, and other goods to raise funds for the kingdom. And the Imam demanded gifts. Yes, he demanded gifts. He was that kind of ruler. He demanded gifts. And here's the crazy thing. He demanded gifts for the rights to trade with him. So if you wanted to trade with him, you got to give him gifts. Isn't that crazy? You had to give him gifts so he would trade with you. That was the Imam, ultimate ruler with absolute rule. He was the Imam. So this applied for the Europeans and also other African kingdoms as well. Now, with conquering of other kingdoms such as the Kabuk Empire, which was a Mandinka kingdom, the Futa Jallon was a powerful state, very, very powerful state. I can't say that enough, very powerful state. But with the trade and political matters of France, the kingdom faced its demise soon. And France was not happy. France was not happy at all. And, you know, France only ran the coast, and France was not happy with running only the coast where they were at in that area. And the one-sided trade, as far as them having to give the Imam of Futa Jallon, the leader, which is the king of the kingdom, they had to keep giving him gifts, and they didn't get anything in return other than to trade with him. So he was basically getting double he was basically you know, getting double the goods, and they were getting only one side of the goods, but he was getting double the goods for that. So the French began a campaign, and this campaign was to take over the kingdom of Futa Jallon. And France did this by playing on internal kingdom problems. So basically the same analogy as conquer and divide, the same thing they did in the the Atlantic slave trade. When we got here, as far as conquer and divide, what was the problems, and as far as conquer and divide is, what was the problems inside of the kingdom that we can play on, that we can come upon, and we can look at it and play onto it, and, you know, eat the kingdom from inside out, basically. So in 1896, at the Battle of Port Daka, the French defeated the last Imam, and the kingdom became part of the French Empire, and what was known at the time for a very long time as French West Africa. That's why a lot of people in West Africa know how to speak French, in case you guys did not know. And this also birthed the story of a West African prince that became an American slave, but that is for another time, and that is for another story, and I will get back to that. But today we learned about a Fulani kingdom. Yes, a Fulani kingdom. I love the Fulani, and we learned about Fulani kingdom, and it was called Futa Jallon. And I hope you guys learned a lot today. As always, to all my black people, yo, we had many kingdoms, we had many ethnic groups, we had many great history stories, and just great things even going on today. You know, Sankofa, you know, reach into the past and grab. So that's what we did today, Sankofa, you know, reach into the past and grab. So we did that today. We learned about another African kingdom, and we're going to continue to decolonize our minds for the people that don't think we have African history, and we're going to keep going into history, present, past, future, all of it. So as always, to all my black people around the world, yo, I love you all, and I hope you guys are being safe as always, and you know, prosper. Always learn. Always remember to learn. If you see something and you don't want to read it, still read it. Even if you don't want to read it, still read it. Learning is the key. Knowledge is the key, and then you must apply knowledge. With just having knowledge doesn't mean anything, but then when you apply it. So even if you're just teaching somebody, that's still applying it, because we're a community people. We are supposed to share. We shouldn't be talking about, it's just me, it's all for me, I'm all about me. It's about the community. That's always been the black way throughout all of history, the African way. It's always the community. Think community, don't think self, think community. So as always, to all my black people, yo, one love, and I'll holler at you next time. Peace.